Welcome to Big Girls Don't Cry. We are your hosts, Shan and Georgie, and we're just two friends figuring it out as we go. And we're so thrilled you're here with us today.
This podcast is all about getting real. We're talking the messy stuff, the magical stuff, and everything in between.
Because let's be honest, being human is incredibly tough sometimes. But when we share the messy bits, that's where the magic happens.
So grab your coffee, wine, or whatever fills your cup and come hang with us. We'll laugh, cry, overshare, and probably trip over our words as we stumble through life's beautifully messy moments. And I mean messy.
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 Today on Big Girls Don't Cry, we're joined by Marni Lane, a true force in the world of communications and public relations. As the co-founder and principal of KLC, Marni has built a boutique PR agency rooted in storytelling with soul, helping entrepreneurs, nonprofits, and businesses craft narratives that don't just make noise, but make an impact. She's a media strategist as well as a passionate advocate who leads with both expertise and heart. Marni is also a wife to Jason, a devoted mother of three, and someone whose personal journey has shaped the depth and compassion she brings to every part of her work. Behind the polished campaigns and public-facing wins is a story of resilience, love, and loss. A journey that continues to inspire her advocacy, especially in support of families and the life-saving work at the Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital in New York.
And that's all we've managed to uncover about you, Marni, but we are only scratching the surface. We are excited to turn it to you to share more about yourself, but before we do, Marni, thank you for being here and welcome to the show. To start us off, can you tell us something about yourself that doesn't show up in the headlines or on your LinkedIn?
Thank you, Shan. Thank you, Georgie. I'm so honored to be here. As a communications expert, my partner and friend Susan and I always say we love to promote our brands and we love to promote our clients. It's very hard for me to promote myself or talk about myself. So it's a little challenging for me, but I like to call myself a recovering journalist. I worked at ABC News for almost 10 years. I worked in breaking news and in the booking department at Primetime Live. I helped launch abcnews.com in the year 2000. I worked with Peter Jennings and I was liaison with all the correspondents around the world to make sure there's consistent reporting between the evening news, which is World News Tonight, and abcnews.com. I was very fortunate to have been raised professionally at ABC. I'm so grateful for those experiences. They were very much baptism by fire. I worked in the investigative unit after 9/11, and I'm very grateful for those experiences, albeit terrifying. I pivoted and traded in Bin Laden for Balenciaga and produced a TV show for Vogue magazine for just a year. And then my husband got transferred to Boston. So all of a sudden I realized, okay, I had lived my professional life in New York with these big names behind me, and that was my identity. So it was hard all of a sudden trying to figure out what my next step was. Very fortunate to have edited my friend's book, all about persuasive communication. And he gave me an opportunity to then be the communications specialist and PR person for the U.S. Olympic sailing team. And I did that for a few years. And I had my first child, Colette, in Boston. And then my journey took a major pivot. And all of a sudden, I was thrown into a world that was completely unknown to me. And she was born with a heart condition. And we always thought, oh, no big deal. She'll just do ballet or she'll play golf. She just won't play soccer. Turns out it was a much more serious heart condition that we had originally understood. And when she was a year old, she needed a heart transplant. We moved back to Connecticut so we could be close to New York Presbyterian, to Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital of New York Presbyterian. And she was lucky enough to get a heart transplant when she was a year old. Unfortunately, she rejected her heart and had many complications after that. It was very medically complex. And we were in and out of hospitals for about 6 months. And sadly, she passed when she was 18 months old. So that experience molded me into such a different person.
Gosh,
So, that's crazy.
That's all
And then
consuming.
Thankfully, I have 2 more children who are healthy, knock on wood. And I just live for them every day.
Gosh, that is a hell of a story. And as we sort of said from the beginning, resilience, love, sadness, all in one.
But the fact that you also, at such a young age in your career, were working for ABC in the news sector, you know, that is as high pressure as it is. Like my first job was in advertising. And then, again, this humongous thing that happened to you later on as well, it most certainly feels like resilience is a theme there.
I think when you work at ABC News, you're constantly just thrown into a different scenario every single day with breaking news. And even when 9/11 happened, and it was just terrifying, and you're just thrown into this world of breaking news of such massive devastation in the city in which you live, it throws you into this whole world where you can't really sit down and think about it. You just have to move forward and report it and work. And I think that after that experience of how horrible it was, and then also losing people who I knew during 9/11, it was just a really tough time. It was a very hard time to be at ABC, but then also figuring out who you are as a producer or as a journalist when knowing that you've lost people yourself.
Yeah, that's insane. And then how did you get now to what you're doing today?
So thankfully, my friend Dean, who gave me that first opportunity to work with him at his communication consulting company in Connecticut, and then also introduced me to the U.S. Olympic sailing team. He gave me that opportunity to do the PR for the team. And unfortunately, when Colette needed to be in the hospital, I had worked with them for about 2 years, and then she was in the hospital full time. I took some time off. And then after she passed away, they did ask me to come back, which I was appreciative of. And I liked storytelling. I loved supporting the team and figuring out what those stories were to tell. I think everybody has a story. And as much as I loved working with the Olympic athletes, I also really loved working with the Paralympic athletes and seeing what they've overcome to achieve their goals. And I loved working with the Paralympic athletes. I just thought, every single athlete there has a story, but talk about resilience, let me tell you.
And also struggle, right? Something that you could then acutely relate to, given your personal experience.
Yes. And then there was a point where my son then was 18 months old, and I said, I can't travel. I can't travel with a team. I can't travel to these big regattas, and most of them were overseas. So I said, I'm going to go out on my own and do my own PR. And I started working with some local companies, and I loved that. And then one day I was leaving a doctor's office, and I ran into an old friend from ABC News, Susan, my current partner, and I said, Susan, what are you doing out here? I didn't even know you moved out here. And this is before we were all on Facebook and Instagram and connected.
A couple of years ago.
I know, right? But I also went a little underground, I have to say. I lost, I went underground after Colette passed away because I didn't want to tell everybody, what had happened. And it was a bit private for us. But when I saw Susan, I said, oh my gosh, we used to be such great friends at ABC. And I was so happy to see her. It turns out we were both doing the same thing, both doing PR in Connecticut. Wow. And I said, it'd be so much more fun to do this together. We can join forces. We can use, this would be so much better to work together. And I have to say, she makes me a better communications expert. She makes me she makes me look at life in a different way, and also with our clients in a different way. So we've been working together for about 12 years now. Wow. And we work with some great nonprofits and big events and entrepreneurs and small businesses and you name it. We've had some really great experiences, but we've learned from every single client.
Gosh, Marni, thank you for that. That's a full trip around the world.
That is crazy. Thank you, Marni, for sharing and being so open about yourself and really sharing about dear Colette as well. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I had one follow-up question on that one.
Okay.
You're a mum now to your other 2 children, and you've been to hell and back. How do you ensure you don't carry over the heartache, the pain, in a way that could maybe inhibit them from living a full life as teenagers, or toddlers, as teenagers, as young adults, because of a fear that you might feel of loss?
It's funny. Some parents very much go a different direction than I go in. And I don't fault them or blame them. It's just I take a different tack. And I have to say, Colette was such a fighter. I mean, you should have seen her after her heart transplant when it was still ticking well, and she was a fighter. She all of a sudden was active and happy and like bouncing in her crib in the hospital. I said, this is a whole different child. And she fought, let me tell you. So after my scary pregnancies, because I was so petrified I was going to have another child with a heart condition, and I was high risk, and there were just multiple, I had to be tracked very closely, et cetera. Once I found out after they were born that they were not born with a heart condition, I wasn't as worried. After my 6 months checkup post, and realized like really we were in the clear, I didn't worry about stuff as much. And I have to say, because she was so resilient, I tend to be a little bit more of that mom who says, suck it up, buttercup. Like, so sorry you twisted your ankle, but guess what? You're going to be just fine. And I hate to say it, but in my head, I think, your sister had a heart transplant. Yeah. You're going to be just fine. I don't have fear. I let them run their life in a strong way. I was a little bit nervous about my son playing football, but I'm a big person. I'm a big proponent of doing what makes you happy. And when you have that fire in you to do something and pursue a dream, then you go for it. I don't worry. I'm not a worrisome mom. I'm just not, because I think we've been through the worst. Yeah. The very worst.
Thank you. Phenomenal. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now I'm going to kick it off with some fun. So it's time for one of my favorite parts of the show, the rapid fire questions. Marni, quick answers, no overthinking. Are you ready?
I hope so.
Apologize first or wait for them?
I tend to apologize first. And that is because I quickly want to keep the peace. But I also apologize for my role in a situation. I don't want to apologize for anybody else, but I will apologize for my role if I misunderstood something.
All right, cry it out or tough it out?
Oh, I definitely tough it out.
Okay, forgive or forget?
Oh, it depends who.
As always.
I think I forgive.
Okay, speak your truth or keep the peace?
I'm eternally trying to keep the peace.
Lean on others or go it alone?
I definitely lean on others, as my friends will. I'm so grateful to have so many amazing friends because I learn from them every day.
Alrighty, accept flaws or strive for perfection?
Okay, well, I strive for perfection in me, which is definitely a fault, but I accept other people's flaws.
Okay. All right, actually, let me pause on one of those for a second, because previously you mentioned strive for perfection for yourself. But why are you not able to accept your own flaws? Do you not have any?
Tough question.
I mean, don't ask my husband. He'll tell you about all of my flaws. But
Jason's not here.
It's funny because when I was growing up, my parents always drilled in me that if you worked your ass off, if you worked your butt off,
you can say yes.
If you worked your butt off, you'll get what you want. You'll get you'll do well. You'll succeed. But I had such a perfectionist attitude that I think it held me back a lot because I would never show people something that I produced or I did unless I thought it was perfect. Mm-hmm. And as a result, I think it could make me stagnant. And I'm really trying hard now to not just think of, there is no perfection, right? There's no perfect scenario. And when you've gone through so much as I have in terms of loss, I realized that there was nothing I could have done or we could have all done to save Colette. We did everything we could. So there was no perfect outcome. There never is.
Mm-hmm. Just to follow on to that one, so strive for perfection for yourself. How do you catch yourself not pushing on expectations to other people for those same perfections? And this is something I actually do struggle with personally. So if you hold yourself to such a high regard, how do you then allow grace?
I think I've had to learn it. I would say if you asked me the same question 5 years ago, guess what? I would say I strive for everybody's perfection. I don't know. I feel like it's an evolution, and then maybe I've grown up and I've realized it's just not possible. It's just this unattainable goal. It's exhausting.
For all.
I know.
All
And now-
involved.
All of the above.
But I can look at my friends and say, she's really good at this and she's really good at that. But you know what? That's a bit of a flaw, but that's okay. It's just it makes her who she is or makes him who he is. And if you accept that and you say, okay, everything they do is done out of love or for a good reason, then if I previously thought there was a flaw, I could sort of work through it because I know that the intention was good.
And maybe we should afford ourselves that same gift.
Yes, I would love to accept my own flaws.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Marni.
I will do better. I'm working towards it.
We'll check in later. I'm also super interested as to why you chose apologize first over wait for them. And everything you've shared so far actually lands on a pretty reasonable explanation for me in my own head as to why that was an easy one for you to respond to. But I'd love you to elaborate a little bit more.
What's interesting is that many people say it's a flaw of mine, that I will apologize first.
And why? Is that perceived as weakness?
I think others might perceive it as a weakness. Instead, for me, it's because I want to give that person grace that maybe an action that I did that maybe wasn't intended to be wrong, or it wasn't intended to come out that way, or my tone wasn't perfect. I know that my intention wasn't there, but I will apologize for the role that I played. But I do expect others to apologize for the role they played. So if we had a communication problem or miscommunication, I think about it with my kids. I think it's really important if I am pushed and pushed and pushed, and I then yell at my kid because we're going to be late for school, I will then get in the car and say, listen, I apologize. I should not have yelled at you. But you need to hold your own and be on the same time frame and know that we had to leave the house at 8 o'clock to get to school. So I'm fine. Nobody's perfect, as we said. So I'm fine apologizing for my role in that. And I will apologize to my kids because I need to model that. And they need to know that they need to apologize for the role that they played in that situation. So I do apologize first because I don't apologize if I don't need to, but
Yeah, it's not just to keep the peace.
No, not always. I do like to keep the peace.
I was
like
just thinking
to.
that speaks your truth or keep the
I
peace.
do want to keep the peace.
There's another theme here.
I do want to keep the peace. However, I do expect us to then have a conversation about it. I expect a conversation to say, okay, here's how I felt, and here's what happened in this situation that upset me. I expect to have the opportunity to talk it out. But I have no problem apologizing if I did something wrong.
Yeah, I love it. So we've talked about themes. There are a couple. One I really want to spend a bit of time on is resilience. We'd love to know how you've dealt with resilience. I know Georgie's kind of touched on this already. And tools, again, that you've used to overcome the really tough parts of your life. And you've said you're not really sure if there are any particular tools, rather just an innate way to manage things because of your own experiences. Share some with us if you can.
I never really thought of myself as resilient until other people kept telling me I was. I just always thought of it as I have no other choice. I have to just keep moving. And when you're faced with adversity or faced with a medical challenge or a crisis, you just keep going. You look for the solutions. And that's just how I'm wired. I wish everyone could be wired in the same way. And I know it's really hard for other people to really get out of their own way. I give those people grace because I wish I could solve it for them as well and tell them to say, keep going. I think for me, I personally always just kept going. I felt like, okay, if that didn't work, let's try a different solution. If that doctor told me something I didn't like, let's try to find a new doctor. I was always looking for a different avenue. I wasn't so stuck in someone saying, there's no other choice. I said, there's always another choice. I never pulled the covers up over my head and stayed in bed after Clem passed away. I said, how am I going to keep moving forward? How am I going to survive? And I think that's what really helped me. go to the next stage. And I really wanted to give back to a hospital that gave us so much. And our nurses were incredible at Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital. But what I really wanted to do was help other families be advocates for themselves. And I really wanted to make sure the hospital focused on family-centered care and that the other parents were equipped to be the best advocates for themselves and their children. So I think that, in turn, when I started working with the hospital again and being part of the Family Advisory Council, that, in turn, gave me more resilience.
Yeah.
Or maybe more empowerment because I was trying to help somebody else. And even though we had a terrible outcome, maybe I could help somebody else get through it better.
And I know you've mentioned this before, and what kind of advice would you give families that are going through that now?
Well, I have some very practical advice for sure. But back in the day, I think we produced some videos for parents whose children needed surgery or if children needed hospitalizations. I say you ask every single question possible. You just don't take the first answer that comes to you. You research. You look for second opinions. If I had just went with our first diagnosis up in Boston, I never would have known she was as sick as she was. It was because my mother-in-law told me to get a second opinion with the chief cardiologist at New York Presbyterian. So, of course, we went down and we met with him. But if I had just stuck with that first diagnosis, we would be even worse off at that time. So I think my advice to parents are, you be on the front lines, watch every single detail, pay attention, ask. I mean, I can get into the weeds on this, but if you're in the hospital, you bring a notebook and you write down every single thing someone tells you. And you ask their name because it can be very confusing in a hospital, and there's a hierarchy if it's a teaching hospital. So you have to write down every single person's name, and you write down every single thing they ask, every single thing they say, every single medication. You check your med before they give it to your child because there can be medical mishaps everywhere.
And it's stressful. You actually forget the details you think you're going to most remember.
Yes.
When you are seeing so many people coming in and out of the room.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Grand Central in our hospital room because she was a medically complex child and patient after she rejected her heart transplant. And she got put on this machine called ECMO, and it's like a heart-lung bypass machine. And she then became very neurologically damaged. So she had a G-tube. She had a trach. There was so many problems after that. So it was Grand Central coming through our door every single day. And it gets overwhelming. So you have to write down everything. Also know that you can't be the only person in your child's hospital room. Like you have to, you share this with, like for me, my husband and I tag teamed it. Or my mother-in-law helped me so much during it. And my parents. But if I wrote everything down in a notebook, it was a little bit easier to have as a transition. And I could feel better leaving one night and not staying over if my husband was there because I knew someone was writing it down in this notebook. I do think you just have to be an advocate and ask a ton of questions.
Thanks, Marni. I really hope that can help someone decide on terms of what they need to do next in that situation.
And also, one more thing. When your doctors are doing rounds and if your child is hospitalized and they're doing rounds, ask to sit in on the rounds so you can listen.
Do they ask you to leave?
Sometimes.
Wow.
Depends on the hospital. And on the cardiology, in the ICU, the pediatric cardiac ICU at Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital, the parents were allowed to be in there for rounds. And we made sure of it.
Okay. Let's shift gears for a little bit here and bring it back to what makes you tick, Marni. What's your favorite way to start the day? Whether this is to tackle, a tough day ahead or just ground yourself to remain balanced.
There's so many different tactics that people take, and I wish I could sit and meditate like Shan does in the morning for 10 minutes.
Work in progress.
Maybe my version of meditation is like blocking out the noise, right? And so that's really what it is. It's blocking out the noise. And for me, it's that first cup of coffee for me is so grounding. I need the coffee. I need to watch morning news in the morning.
But Marni, stop. Let's talk about the coffee. I know it's not just your average cup of coffee.
What do you put in there?
I know. Well,
what this looks like.
I do love almond milk. I love a little turmeric because of the anti-inflammatories. I love cinnamon. I have to have all that in my coffee in the morning. And it's really important.
Yeah, you're right. That's not a normal cup of coffee.
Taking notes.
So I definitely, after I do get my kids to school, or if I have to do a quick conference call, I really find the only way I can stay very grounded throughout the rest of the day and be the best person throughout the rest of the day, whether that is the best professional person, the best friend, the best wife, the best mother. I have to work out in the morning. I really love exercising. To me, that it really helps me focus. And if I get a little bit spiraling out of control because of the latest crisis of the day, I find I have to have some kind of active recovery, and that means quickly go for a quick walk, or it means go work out. I love to box. I love to play tennis.
There has to be a couple of stories there.
I know, I do. I love to box. I love to play tennis. I love to golf. I love to hit things because you know what?
Things, not people.
Exactly. Tend to be frowned upon to hit people. So I like to hit objects. I lost a few friends this year, and my friend was killed 2 years ago. And after that, I vowed every single day to hit something to manage my anger.
Oh, wow.
Does it work?
It does. It does. I highly recommend it.
We'll have to give that a go.
Love to try some boxing.
So much of who we are is shaped by the ideas and stories that we've been exposed to. Can you perhaps share a book, a podcast, or any other content that significantly influences your life?
It's funny because there's so many different things that have influenced me. The first book I would say was introduced to me by my dear friends Dean and Emily Brenner, and it's called First You Have to Row a Little Boat. And I love that it's a great book about comparing learning to sail with life. And you always think that or when I was younger, I used to think the most direct path to get from A to B was just to go in a straight line, right? And it's not that way at all. You have to tack. And you have
I'm sorry, for those non-sailors out there, what exactly is tacking?
Change direction.
Oh, right. Thanks for that.
Envision a zigzag.
Okay.
And that's based on which direction the wind is going, you know? And if you think about it, it's like you have to adjust your sails based on the direction of the wind, or maybe it's the current, or maybe there could be so many different factors, right? So you can't just always say, well, I'm going to do plan A to get what I want. No, you have to learn how to pivot, and you have to find the beauty in the pivot and like the trusting the process. And I found that to be always helpful. And I do reread it over the years when I have to realize that sometimes you just have to change path.
And also we go back to the rowboat more than once in our life.
Yes.
As we take on different journeys, different experiences, different careers, different phases of our life. And I think, hearing about your early career, ABC, no one day looks like the next, not being able to anticipate what comes through the door, down the channel. And agility is a word that keeps coming to me, that you've had to learn very, very early on. And I think the rowboat also speaks to agility.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, I agree. And maybe that's part of resilience.
Yeah.
Is having that kind of agility. I've always been, because I had to learn how to be agile. I also had to learn to be curious. And that's the other thing. When I need to listen to a podcast, I want to learn something. I want to learn from somebody else's expertise. I'm very curious. I love interviewing people. I love helping people articulate their journey. I love to media train people to go on camera or do an interview, whether it's radio or podcast or print. I love to help.
We are all ears.
I'm not used to being the actual subject. But I do like telling people or guiding people towards sharing their perspective and having powerful and persuasive communication, which I learned from Dean Brenner as well. I think that it's very important to be curious. And so I listen to podcasts like Smart List because it makes me laugh so hard.
Great shout out to
I love
them.
that.
And exactly, love that interview, their interviews. I love Howard Stern and his interviews. He's really taught me how to be more curious too. And, He's not the same Howard Stern he used to be. Now he gives these incredible interviews now because he's so curious.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a two-part question for you. I'll ask the first one first and the second one after that. So what is one word that described your journey so far, and why that word specifically?
Interesting. My one word would be progress. I think I've learned to find the beauty in evolution. That previous pursuit of perfection could immobilize me. And I think when I've learned that life is an evolution, it's really opened doors for me and made me feel a little bit more empowered or alive.
Okay, and then if we look at Marni in the future, what is the one word that best describes you in the future when you're living in a full alignment with your values?
Connected.
Oh, I like that.
Tell me more.
When I look at what makes me who I am, and I look at my careers, I look at my friendships, I look at my advocacy work, whether it was at the hospital or with other nonprofits, et cetera. I look at my children. I think of connection. I want to connect people together to find solutions. I thrive in feeling connected to somebody. I love going for a long walk with someone, or even if it's going up a chairlift while skiing,
Sailing,
and connecting
skiing.
with someone. I know.
What else?
I love it all.
Boxing.
I don't know. I love being connected with people and having really, really good, strong conversations. And I like going deep.
You are a very connected lady as well.
She doesn't get called the mayor for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I also am a problem solver. I like helping people solve problems. And if I know somebody who's gone through it already, a certain problem or a similar situation, I need to connect that person with the person who's going through it now so they can learn from each other. So while I might not have all the answers, because I definitely do not have all the answers, somebody else might have a little glimmer of an answer that could help someone move forward.
Yeah.
I want everybody to keep progressing. I really believe progress is 1,000 moves forward. It's not just one move forward, it's 1,000. So you have to be open to changing and pivoting and progressing, whatever that may look like for you. Because what it looks like for me is very different from someone else.
And Marni, so if we're going to shift from progress to connection, what are some of the things that you can do to ensure that you get there? What can you work on? What are you currently working on that allows you to make that step change over time?
I am working on... That's an excellent question. I am working on feeling connected individually with people and not just part of a group. I think it's really important for me to have those individual connections where I always loved having a lot of friends and a lot of people around. I'm a people person. That's what fills my bucket. I love being around people and learning from people. But instead of big groups, I think now I've pivoted towards individuals, having that one-on-one connection. Did that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. I can't believe it's just about that time.
I know.
Because I have no idea where it's gone. At Big Girls Don't Cry, we help people embrace vulnerability and authenticity through inspiring conversations, empowering them to find strength in their stories and break societal stereotypes. We believe that to be human is to have a story, and through sharing these stories, we foster a deeper connection, understanding of our shared humanity, innate capabilities, and the ability to squash self-limiting beliefs and craft a life that we deem meaningful and purpose-fueled. You certainly have given us more than enough to digest here. Marni, thank you.
Thank you.
And before you go, Marni, we always ask our guests to close us off by finishing this one sentence. So, Marni, if you could finish the sentence, please. Big girls don't cry. They
move forward.
I love that.
Good.
With progress and connection.
Yeah. On a rowboat.
Very agile.
Okay, where big girls don't cry, they pivot.
They love it. Love it.
Or they hit things.
Oh, nice. That's it. They hit things.
I do want to say one last thing, and that is it's very important to cry. And it's very important to find time to feel your feelings. And I never used to feel my feelings because I felt as if like that would be an example of losing strength. And it's not. Sometimes crying is the strongest thing you can do.
100%.
Big girls do cry.
Big girls do cry.
Yeah.
And hit things.
Often. Thanks, Marni, for your insights and powerful stories today. We really do appreciate it. But before we wrap up, where can people find you, follow your work? How can they get in touch?
You can follow me on LinkedIn, Marni Lane. My company is Krisky Lane Communications, and we're on Instagram, but LinkedIn and Instagram.
Perfect. Well, we'll also just do a post out on our Instagram, Big Girls Don't Cry podcast, with that information. But also, everyone who's listening, if we would love for you to DM us with your thoughts and how you would finish off the sentence, Big Girls Don't Cry. See you next time.
Thank you. This has been great.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you found inspiration and connection in our conversation today. Remember, true strength lies in vulnerability and authenticity.
Join us next time as we continue to explore the messy, beautiful realities of being human. Crying is optional. Growth is mandatory.
Till next time.
On Big Girls Don't Cry.
Over to you, G.
I can't believe you just wrote there's any other context through consumption.
Stop judging me.
Good English.
Good.
Has she seen this?
She's about to.
That doesn't make
Nothing
sense.
like working on the fly.
What is the one word that best describes? You should ask this question.
You are living
Where
in full.
you are living in full. Is it going in and out for you?
No, not really.
Oh, that's weird. My earpods. Living. I didn't bring tissues.
Does your nose run when you get nervous?
When I'm crying.
When you're laughing. Okay, that's better. But big girls don't cry.
Oh,
Okay.
man. Okay. I really should have brought a tissue.
Oh, jeez. I've got nothing to offer, I'm afraid. Was that a bit of waffle?
No. That's great. I like the reference to my question.
Okay,
my
cool.
two-part question.
Yeah. I'm hoping this just comes
Yeah, I
out
hope
of
so.
nowhere because there's not much in front of us.
I can't be laughing like this though.
Okay. At Big Girls Don't Cry, we hope that we help.
We hope that we help.
We're not sure, but that's our goal. We help. Why do we hope? Let's just do it. To at least do da-da-da-da, or think about reliance,
About
or resilience.
resilience. Maybe, it's quite long, eh?
It's so long.
Yeah.